So, let's see. Last week we worked on... so you asked me to come to your class and start to look for things you might be missing, and I zeroed in on like materials and communicating more specific scholar expectations. So last week we talked about two things, and they're on that template. Pre-plan and state your vision for student actions in each part of the lesson, and follow up to make sure they're doing it. So what's been the impact of thinking and executing in this way?
I think I'm able to like settle them down a little bit more. I think like I recognize where it's like okay, they're all over the place right now, like writing or just the extra pens or pencils or whatnot, and I'm able to like get rid of that stuff so that they can focus more. And there's less of like put it away, like, and issues with so-and-so taking so-and-so's pen or pencil. Like, there's not much of that happening anymore, which is good.
I didn't even think of that. That's an extra benefit.
Yeah, and there's that, I mean, especially in Cornell, that seems to be the class that's an issue with, is of...
I'm going to summarize that there's not as much pencil snatching.
Yeah, because that's happened.
I wouldn't even think of that.
Darius always has extra things. And Frederick would always have extra things, and there was an issue once where the kid took an extra pencil. We had like 10, so the kid was like, oh, I need a pencil.
Yeah,
he's got 10. And I told Frederick, I said, if you didn't have all these pencils out. So, you know, just little things like that. So,
Great.
yeah.
Anything else? So in terms of materials, that covers materials. What about like different parts of the notes or packets or anything like that?
What do you mean?
I have noticed you, so I'll tell you, I have noticed you like be more specific about turning pages and checking to turn pages.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that.
For example, in the past you might have said, go to the independent practice or something like that, but now you're like, turn to the next page. Yeah. That's one set of directions. Okay, now, and then give your what
Yeah,
to do
I guess I'm
directions
trying to be
in
more
direction.
clear about what
You
to
have
do.
been. Yeah. So the thing that I want to dive into today is we're going to stay on the same action step, which is communicating the vision, but we're going to particularly today focus on the follow-up part.
Yeah.
So I'm going to model for you. I scripted this out so I could, like, there's one part I want to be really dramatic with. So just watch me and, like, what do you, don't, you're cheating.
Oh, sorry.
Just
I can't
watch
cheat
me,
anyway.
no, just watch me and what is effective about my follow-up. I'm going to do it over.
Sorry.
I want to do it from the front of the room so that way you can see. I'm trying to make a video library too so I can use these next year and not have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, so my vision is that we have professional desks. The only thing on your desk is your packet and your pencil. Thank you, Carlos, for putting your stuff in your seat sack. Thank you, Frederick, for putting extra pencils away. Antonia, that's one, opposite of directions. Pencils in the seat sack. Oh, Anthony, that's one, opposite of directions. Extra packet in the seat sack. Okay. I'm going to come around and I'm going to check number 2 on your do now. All right. That was the best angle ever. So, what did you notice about my follow-up that was effective?
The scan.
Okay. That's the big thing. What else? There's 2 things. Scan and...
Nodding to make sure that they complied.
So, that's what I personally do. I think like what I was gonna name to you is like use wait time and wait until they're compliant. But for me personally, I have to nod before, and like for myself also to know like okay they got it and move on.
I usually say thank you or something like I usually
Something
try
like
to
that.
follow up. Yeah.
So we're gonna watch some video that I took in class last week, and so this was the follow up to the action step last week. It was the part where I was coming in to see what happens with the seat stacks. So as we watch, just narrate any gaps that you might see in your follow up in particular. Your delivery of instructions was great. We're just focusing on follow up.
Class packet and one, which means just your class packet
Sorry.
and one writing utensil. Everything else is in your seat bag.
That was clear.
Thank you, Elijah. His desk is clear. Tyler only has his class packet and pencil. Thank you, Braden, for starting on your thing now. Anaya, Tavian, Zaria, Antonia, one opposite directions. I need your desk clear, except for your packet, and one writing utensil. Antonia, one voice I asked.
So you just corrected all of them. Then what?
Well, I corrected her for talking, and then I went to get a pencil for somebody who's asking for a pencil.
But how do you know if they all did it or not? Let's watch that again. This is the part where like some wait time and acknowledging that they did it.
Directions, I need your desk clear, except for your packet, and one writing utensil. I need your desk clear, except for your packet, and one writing utensil. Antonia, one voice I asked.
I missed it, didn't I? I think it's at it must be at 30 seconds, not 40.
Anaya,
Here we go.
Tavian, Zaria, Antonia, one opposite directions. I need your desk clear, except for your packet, and one writing utensil.
See, you're not looking at those kids you just corrected. It's okay to correct 4 at once, but like then you have to be looking at those 4 kids. Okay. You can't move past those 4 kids until they all 4 get it. Because I bet if you had been put in the heat with the stare on Antonia, the voice might not have happened. Let's watch it one more time.
Anaya, Tavian, Zaria, Antonia, one opposite directions. I need your desk clear, except for your packet, and one writing utensil. Antonia, one voice I asked.
Should I have done one of those kids at a time instead of calling out 4?
I think it's okay to do 4, but you have to make sure you're watching them. Like if you call out 4, you have to know that, okay, I'm watching 4. Thank you. He doesn't have it.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
thank you.
the trouble that I have
He
sometimes
still
is
doesn't
like
have it.
if
Oh, thank you. And then you get to wait until the 4th one.
is if I don't call out all the kids that aren't complying at that time, I have issues with kids who are now saying like,
It's not fair. Right. So I think it's okay, but just know that you have to wait for all 4 of them. And so that means you might have to like look at Antonia. Look at the other kid. Oh, thank you. Antonia again. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Antonia.
okay,
But you cannot move on until you know those 4 that you corrected are compliant. Because what happens then is like, you know, one kid still has something out, and then you move on, and then you do another activity, and then something from that activity is left out, and then all the stuff builds up. There's one more spot I wanted to look at, but I need to look at my notes and see what. Okay. Watch a little bit more, and then I'm going to move ahead. At this point, you still haven't scanned like the whole room. So just put the first three.
Well, she can't fit them in her seat next. She's talked to me about that. That's been an issue.
Maybe we put it to the side then.
Or she can put it under her desk at her feet or something.
You still have 5 minutes on your two now. Then you time go for your level 0. Mariah, 1 opposite directions. You are out of your recording folder. Is put away.
That was a good catch.
And you're in your two now. Oh, Alvin, that's 1 for call out.
She's a struggle.
Alvin, that's 1 voice. Level 0. Taking on 1 voice. Taking 1 opposite. All of this. First 4 scholars on this side look very strong.
So this scene I'm about to go tell Kozart the directions you just gave. And this is when I pulled you to the side the other day. If you ever like just give a direction, you happen to see him in the room, you can say, I just told them this. And he can help reinforce that. So I'm about to go over and tell him that you and I are working on making sure that they have only 1 packet and 1 pencil out. And so I told him that because there are about 4 or 5 kids in the room that still had stuff out.
So 3 minutes for now.
So, things that you did really well. Communicated the vision. We practiced last week. What if a kid gets back into their accordion folder and you address that student? You did correct the 4 scholars and notice them. Some areas for improvement. Again, with waiting for compliance, and then scan the whole room to check for compliance before circulating. Like you're not. Don't circulate until you have 100% meeting that expectation. Because right here, when you're already moving around, then Kozart has to go get a few kids. Okay, so what are the key steps you're going to take for follow-up?
Not moving on. That's probably the big thing.
Okay.
Just waiting. I mean, everything. Like if I'm telling them level 0 or sit up, like not doing it till I have 100%.
It's just, and with you, it's a lot more scanning and a lot more wait time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a part of me that's always afraid, like if I wait too long, I'm going to lose their attention span. Which it isn't necessarily true. I just think that's sometimes what, like, the habit that I fall into. That if I wait too long, you know what I mean? So.
I hear you, but over time you will wait less.
No, you're right. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that's what's going on in my head as to why I sometimes move on quickly.
I dropped in some of the things that you said. I just kind of like hashed out into step by step. Scan every kid to check for compliance with expectation. If you see it, like after you give the direction, you're scanning really every kid. You see 1 kid, you correct them. Thank you. Keep scanning until you get the whole room. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna come around and I'm gonna check number 2. Thank you for those professional desks.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and practice it. Let's do the seat stack thing again. So I want you to do it from your perch and practice the scan, correction, and scan again because you're not allowed to leave your perch until you got them. I'm ready when you are.
Scholars, I need to see professional-looking desks with only your class packet and one writing utensil out on your desk. Everything else is put into your seat sack. Thank you, Frederick, for putting away the extra pencils. Thank you, Elijah, for putting your accordion folder in your seat sack. Thank you, Brayden, for putting your reading book away. Antonia, Anaya, Alvin, put your accordion folders away. That's one, opposite directions. Thank you, Anaya. Thank you, Alvin. Thank you, Antonia.
That was so realistic. Keep going.
She knows she'd be the last
Keep
one.
going.
I appreciate that Alfonso went right back into his do now after he cleared his desk. Oh, Mamari, you put the book away. That's one, opposite of directions. Thank you.
That was great. Much more intentional scanning. You waited for every kid, and you made it so realistic. I feel like you were actually picturing your class, because Antonia would take the longest, and also like somebody would pull their book back out and pull a fast one. So that was really great. I want to do it again just for some muscle memory, because I am going to come in during the first block today to watch your follow-up. So
Okay.
let's do it again.
Scholars, I need to see your desks looking professional with only your, almost your accordion folder. He's done that.
It's okay. Start over.
Scholars, I need to see professional looking desks with only your class packet and one writing utensil out on your desk.
Good.
Everything else is put away, and you are silently in your do now.
Where are they putting it away?
In your seat sack.
Did you say that?
I don't remember.
Okay, start over.
Scholars, I need to see your desks looking professional with only your class packet and one writing utensil out on your desk. Everything else is put into your seat sack,
Good.
and you are silently working on your do now. Thank you, Mariah, for putting your accordion folder in your seat sack. Thank you, Corday, for putting the reading book away. Thank you, Saeed, for putting the extra pens away. Bree, Ramaja, that's one. Put your books in your seat sack. Opposite of directions.
Fine.
Thank you, Ramaja. Thank you, Bree. Oh, Zoe, that's one. Put the extra pencils away. Thank you. We're at 100% UCLA. I'm going to come around and check your do now. Continue working at a level 0.
Do that part again. 100% what?
100% clear desks.
Great. Okay. Awesome. And do you know why I pushed you on the, where are they putting them away?
Yeah, because some of them are putting them, well, and that's hard because their recording folders are so thick right now. So
Then they need to put them underneath, right? But what if you didn't say seat sack? They might think, I don't know, sorry, that's a dumb question, I'll just tell you. If you don't say seat sack, they could just say, well, it is put it away because it's at the top of the table, right? Because
Yeah,
sometimes when they have lab
and they
supplies,
say-
you say put it away by pushing it
So
forward.
I need to say like
The
off this,
explicit.
like I need to
Off
clearly
of your
say
desk
it's-
into your seat sack or under your chair. I would just say in your seat sack, and you know the exceptions.
Okay.
Great. So I'm going to follow up in 2 ways. One, I'm going to come in at the beginning. You have UCLA first, right?
Yes, I do.
Great. And so since they are students that really struggle, like
Everywhere.
with motor skills and stuff like that, it really will help to have all their stuff away. So that's why I chose to come into that class. And I'm going to video again. And specifically, we're focusing on the follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
So I made up some live coaching signals for you. So if I see that you've given an expectation that's not 100%, I'm gonna be like, stop, don't go on, and then scan. For me, I just usually when
Good, Caleb. I'm glad to hear it.
I just do this, you start scanning. Is that okay to stick with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then same as usual, I'll point to a kid if you
Okay.
miss them. So stop, scan, and if you don't catch him, I'm gonna be like, Caleb.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it, but you
The biggest issue that I'm having right
Mhm.
now is the talking and the talking back for when I
Mhm.
take points.
Mhm.
So I've been trying, and I didn't do a good job of this yesterday, and I knew it. Just not engaging, just taking the point, and then if they continue, just remove them, like go to the reflection desk or whatever, like
Mhm.
until I'm at a place where you can talk calmly. But that's just become like an issue, I would say, this last couple of weeks.
And it's not isolated to your class. I wonder if there's
No, I
some-
know it's not isolated to my
Well, I
class.
wonder if there's something, because I've been in several restorative conversations recently about this and how kids get upset when they lose a point, but then we talk about, well, how many points did you end up losing because you're out
Mhm.
first, right? And so maybe this is something we can talk about in community meetings.
Yeah. Well, my thought was today, if I
Like
had
how
kids,
1 point becomes at least 4, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a 3 for an inappropriate response, and then
So my thought today, what I was gonna do is just remove them, like, and then pull them and like not talk to them during class if they're gonna be upset, and then just wait until lunch or advisory or whatever, and then having that conversation with them then.
the issue when you remove them though in the back is very rarely do I see a kid go back there and continue to do work.
Right. Right.
So, this is something that I can watch for today and get some video of, hopefully, and maybe we could talk about the next time we meet.
Mhm.
Because sending them to the back makes them quit working.
Right. But then that they sit up there, sit up here sometimes, they just kinda keep going. Like that's what happens with like, and I guess at that point, that's where I just send for the referral.
Mm-hmm.
And I
That's
just,
gonna be like your Carlos of the world.
yeah, and I just don't. Because I've been trying to do the whole sending them to paycheck and reflections, but I'm just not seeing that make a difference. And it's the same
I think
kids.
they need to stay in their seat as much as humanly possible. If
Mhm.
Carlos is screaming, that's different.
Right.
That's an outlier. But overall,
But
we'll be
like
sending
a
back
good
there.
example would be like an Alfonso. As
Mhm.
soon as he gets a correction, he just starts going like, "You're taking points for no reason, man." Like just keep, and he'll keep.
So make a note
talking.
to yourself, and you have to have that conversation at lunch.
Yeah.
Or ask to have your morning advisory covered for 5 minutes and go find him in the morning before class and say, hey, yesterday this happened. You know, we're still learning how to be in class for 75 minutes, so today if I take a point, how are we going to handle it differently?
Okay. Okay.
Because, I mean, we have to acknowledge for our kids this is hard for them. They've never
Mhm.
had science before, and they've never
Right.
sat for 75 minutes straight. And so acknowledge that, hey, like, the reality is it's hard, and so you might lose a point,
Mhm.
you know? But we don't want to lose 4 points. There's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, losing a point it's okay. It's a mistake.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a conversation to have. And if you ever need me to cover your advisory for 5, well, the morning is tough. But afternoon advisory, I can do. If you ever need me to cover for 5 or 10 minutes, you can go follow up with a kid or at lunch or something like that. I
Mhm.
think that's the
Well,
way
lunch is the easiest time to
I'm gonna
follow
turn
up.
this off.